It is Friday, July 7th, 2018. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And I am deeply sorry for not having been here Wednesday. My apologies, my deepest apologies. But that's about the most you're going to get out of me. I've made my apologies now. And if you want to know where I was, you should check the Verge Currency Facebook, and you will find out. I don't know if I can disclose quite who it was, but a friend hooked me up with a excellent ticket to see Metallica, and I saw them back in 1990, and I will just say this: they have improved with age. It was one of the most impressive concerts I've ever seen. It was certainly the best tickets I've ever had for a concert like that, and certainly for Metallica. The last time I saw them, I was so high up in nosebleed you needed a pair of binoculars to tell the difference between one band member and another. But let me tell you something. I was so close that when those fucking flames shot off, and they did do pyrotechnics inside, which I was kind of surprised with, I felt the heat from those flames. You know, they were quite bright and like 15, 20 feet tall, and yeah, it was beautiful. It was a fucking awesome show. And I'll tell you something, the thing that I like the most about a band, it doesn't matter about their albums and whatnot, it's their performances live. That is what you're really paying for with regard to an album, is you are helping sustain the possibility of them coming to your town and melting your fucking face off. That's where all the gear comes from. That's where all the sponsorships come from. That's where all that shit comes from. Now, sure, they make a lot of money at the performances themselves, but in order to keep you interested between one concert and another, you need a fucking reminder in your hand, in your ear, saying, hey, yo, we still exist. We're going to make another one of these, and we're going to do another tour for it, and we're going to come back and blow your fucking mind. And that's exactly what Metallica did. They came out, they played fucking Hardwired, the first song, and it was just fucking... I knew from that moment that I was in for a fucking treat. All the waiting was worth it. All of the stress that I dealt with in trying to line it all up, it was all worth it. The rental car, all that, it was all worth it. Because I'll tell you, man, there were about 1.5 million poor, deprived souls who were not there at Metallica, and for them, I feel deeply sorry. But oh well, you know. We're not all smart enough to go see Metallica. And so, yes, I'd like to thank my friend verbally here now, and at some point or another, I may or may not disclose who it was, and if I do, it'll blow your fucking mind. But anyway, yeah. I can't say enough. Really, it was a magical evening, and I got to share it with this gentleman named Tony. And if you're out there listening, Tony, thank you very much for holding my spot. This guy is huge, so it was easy to figure out exactly where I was standing in reference to the stage when I had to go to the bathroom. Like, terrible, okay? Like, I had to pee when I got in, and I took care of that immediately, but then I went over to the bar and took a beer down and a shot of Jaeger and all that. And so I get to the floor, and it's like 6:30, 7 o'clock, so we got a little bit of time before the show even really starts, you know. Or actually, no, it was about 6:30, 6:45 when I got down to the floor, and Tony had been standing in line like right next to me, and so I mean, it was cool that we ended up standing next to one another in the fucking crowd, and so you know, I made it all the way through Jim Brewer, and the band didn't start until like 9:30, 9:45, around there. But I'll tell you what, they gave us the full meal deal. They stayed until damn near 12 o'clock, and they played one live. They played fucking Master of Puppets. They played all of them, man, all the good shit. And so, you know, the only song they didn't play that I would have really liked to have heard live was Blackened. Other than, or maybe Eye of the Beholder. But other than that, man, they played all of the stuff that I would have wanted to hear live. And when they played Fuel, I'm not even a really big fan of the song until I saw it live. And then I was just like, holy shit! This is it. This is why that song is on that album. So yeah, hats off, Metallica. You guys are fucking awesome. I don't give a fuck how old you are. You've gotten nothing but better with time, and I look forward to you being back in fucking Oregon again, man. If you are, I will fucking be there. Count on it. Even if I gotta buy the ticket myself, I will be there. I'll be square. I'll be in the front. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down into some music. As far as... Oh, wait a minute. I didn't even talk about Get Your Ass Kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Friday. How remiss of me. We actually covered a bit more judo. We covered some more judo throws today. And I'll tell you what, man. I really like it. I could spend years doing nothing but that. Because... I really feel the wind. You know, there's a feeling you get when the move lines up, and it's not even exactly how the instructor showed you, but it's like perfect for you. You know, it's like the instructor's maybe a little bit taller, maybe a little bit shorter, maybe their legs are different length or whatever. But for whatever reason, like their foot position, their perfect foot position for the technique isn't necessarily yours for the person that you're rolling with, right? But there's this feeling you get when everything just fucking flows. You know, it's like it was a movement so certain that it was like it was meant to be. You know, there was one motion that you could have made and one transition you could have made to get to where you were, and that was it, right? It just feels that right. I call that the wind. You know, when you can feel the wind with it. You know, you just... Whew, and you fly right through it, right? Well, I was really feeling the wind with this throw that we were doing, and it's like where you got the back of the guy's arm, right? And then you got his lapel in your right hand, and in your left hand is on the back of his elbow, right? And I imagine you could probably do this when gi-less too. Because what it involves is, like, if you didn't have a gi, you could just as easily grab around the guy's elbow, you know, like with your thumb on the inside, fingers on the outside. And the setup was that you pull the one arm up and you push with the other arm, and your opponent pushes back. And when your opponent pushes back on your pushing arm, you collapse the arm and you slip it underneath for an underhook, right? And then you just bring that other leg around, tuck down, and just fly that guy into the fucking universe. And so I was doing this, and I was able to stop myself at like any point. You know, if I got my foot position perfect, I was able to stop at like 3/4 of the way through it. Like his head's like 4 inches off the ground, and I'm stopped. And the guy that I was throwing the first or second one, the guy's really, really tall. And so I was actually, it was the second one. He's kind of a big guy. He's about, I want to say, like 3 or 4 inches taller than me, at least 2-3 inches wider than me. And I tucked in on him, and like I said, I got him up on my shoulder, and I was tucked down, and I didn't feel his weight at all. I mean, until I stopped, but by then I was in like the perfect position where I wasn't really feeling his weight. It wasn't oppressive, even though the guy outweighs me by about, I don't know, 15-20 pounds. But nonetheless, I had him up, and it was just really easy to just pull his hand just another 2 inches and bring him down. You know, brought him down nice and easy. Probably the easiest a guy that size has ever been put on the ground. And but yeah, like I said, I was really feeling the wind with it, where I could feel that if I was in a clinch type position like this, that if I timed myself just right, I could do it. that I shake the guy up, maybe get him a little off his game, and really push into him and get him to react, collapse that arm, slide on in, and off into the universe. Anyway, so yeah, that was Get Your Ass Kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Friday. And I got to roll with one of our new black belts. It was only a flow roll, but that's fun, I mean, it's good to get that flow roll going down, so you get a little bit of time to work on stuff. And it's funny, it's like he was like reading my mind, right? Where I had almost established a full mount on him, and I'm like, oh. And he goes, oh, did I hurt you? And I go, no, I just thought of something. And so I reset, and his arm was keeping me from bringing my leg over. So this time I put my arm right under his armpit, and I got his elbow inside my arm, and just slowly walked my arm up until I had his arm up over his head. And then I grabbed the arm with the other arm and then tried to bring it over, and he still managed to scooch through. But it was an improvement, and I think if I had a lesser opponent and we were actually rolling, that would have been the difference between me getting full mount and me not getting full mount, is bringing that arm all the way up first and then having my right arm free to address the leg. So like if he gets you back in half guard, you do that thing where you walk your foot up towards his butt, and then you pop the knee with your other arm, right? Well, I wasn't getting his arm high enough, his left arm high enough, and like I said, he was able to keep that arm in there and keep me from passing his guard and getting into full mount. But the second time around, I did manage to get into full mount. He still swept me anyway, but it was it was good to be rolling that slow, to be able to catch what I did wrong or what I could have improved, and then have an opportunity to go back and implement that change. It was cool. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and throw down into some music, and this is actually a cover, and I'll be honest, the cover is like 80 million times better than the original. And I remember when the original came out, because it was when MTV was like just starting to get popular. It was before Real Life and all that other bullshit. But they had Headbangers Ball, and they were experimenting with putting actual programs in instead of just playing continuous videos. And they kept playing this fucking song. And so here it is. You Spin Me Round by Dope. Here on Coin Metal, First Dance. And that was Lamb of God with Embers. Oy. Yeah, I had to play that Metallica because, well, Metallica is Metallica. You gotta play them. Anyway, as far as what we're going to cover tonight, I've got a few things picked out. And, I did want to start off with something else that I found, though, in the meantime, while I was digging around. I found this article on Medium concerning Verge. And so here it is. This is, let's see here. This is by Newman, N-U-M-A-N, and by the picture, yes, Penis. This is authored on October 14th, so it was a little while ago, but nonetheless, still pertinent, I think. Cryptocurrency generation. It has been almost 10 years since Satoshi Nakamoto introduced Bitcoin to the world. It is the first fully functional, trustless digital currency solution that utilizes the blockchain technology in its decentralized network. The polarizing factor of Bitcoin has created two camps among individuals and corporations, one that took it as a joke, and the other as a contender to traditional payment methods/currencies. Both now agree that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are here to stay. Along the way, new ideas and concepts have emerged, giving way to new cryptocurrency projects to evolve the blockchain concept and offer different solutions to the world. Early adapters. Many new people have started to take a closer look into this abnormal world that is crypto. Those that have left their prejudice behind, allowing to be introduced by this new concept, have gotten amazed. As such, they now acknowledge that blockchain provides vast potential. Blockchain is a solution that will completely reinvent the current financial ecosystem. More specifically, the concept of trusted parties' involvement in the roles of identification, title, certification, rulemaking, and in any further decision-making on behalf of involved users. Today, the majority of the world's population still ignores the existence of cryptocurrencies and the revolutionizing potential of blockchain. Meanwhile, large financial entities see it as an uncontrollable, disruptive threat and try to slow it down and control it as much as they can. They do so by repeating their claims that cryptocurrency is a speculative market and not ripe for mass adoption. The following issues are often named as the reason of slow adoption: scalability issues, lack of user-friendly application, trust barriers, lack of regulation, high fees. And none of those are actually true. Anyway, continuing on. New generation. The old are wise, but unable to change. The new are inexperienced, so they try and fail. The wishes and tastes of generations are often completely different. In general, the cryptocurrency space is populated by a young, educated crowd. As such, many university students have a rudimentary understanding of blockchain technology and the underlying benefits that it can offer. I don't know why they concentrate so much on quote-unquote blockchain technology. As far as I'm concerned, that's like the shit. You know, like, so if you got the bowl and the shit, you know, I think that the real important thing is the bowl. You know, because without the bowl, you don't get the shit. You see what I'm saying? Continuing on. The unique side of cryptocurrencies is not having any age limits for the users or participants. In other words, cryptocurrencies allow everyone with interest access to have direct and a sort of digital bank access. Currently, the average age that children get interested in internet access is 5 years old. And dude, that's like an average. That's just an average. I've seen toddlers that throw a fit when you take away the fucking cell phone or the tablet or whatever. Give me a fucking break. Continuing on. Children are already familiar with the concepts of digital currencies due to the popularity of in-game currencies. In the coming years, we will see the young generation with internet access increasingly using cryptocurrencies, since most will not have their own bank account until they reach their country's age of adulthood. When they reach adulthood, it is probable that they will have at least 10 years of cryptocurrency knowledge. That's very likely. With this experience, they will not accept nor understand the rules and delays of the traditional financial system. With the speed of cryptocurrencies, 1 workday or 2 for transaction period will be completely unacceptable. I agree with that assessment. Verge currency and mass adoption. Verge at its core is a cryptocurrency designed for everyday use with a high transaction speed, 15 to 30 seconds, and low transaction fees. It is channeling the transactions over the Tor network, which hides the location of users. On top of this privacy feature, Verge also offers optional stealth addresses, providing users to have private transactions on the same public blockchain. Verge aims to be adopted by commercial and private users. This is why the focus has been on adoption, with increasing numbers of vendors and companies both within the cryptocurrency world and out. Currently, Verge is updating its codebase to have network improvements and build new and better apps, as well as reinventing its wallets to create a user-friendly experience. Verge and young generations. Verge Currency understands the needs of education and direction in order to introduce cryptocurrencies to children. As such, we have looked at unorthodox ways to create more engagement with them. Motocross. Motocross racers use lightweight motorcycles designed for off-road terrain and rough riding. There are 2 different classes within the major classes that are based on the size of the bike and the size of the engine, with some classes specifically designed for youth racing. That's interesting. Danny is from Calgary, Alberta, and they got a picture of this guy here. Alberta, Canada. Although he is only 9 years old, he has an extraordinary 5 years of racing experience. He is regularly training and has huge potential to become a legend in the motocross world, such as Ricky Carmichael or Jeremy McGrath. Neither of one of these people I know. In the last 12 months alone, he's experienced 104 racing days. On his last 30 racing days, he has achieved to become the first in 16 races. Well, yeah, that's wonderful. So we're sponsoring motorcycle riders. That's cool. Danny wanted to help the young generation acknowledge cryptocurrencies by covering his bike with the Verge brand. He did not get any compensation doing so and sees it as his contribution to bringing awareness. His father, Derek Robertson, on the picture above, supported him with his cause and purchased a new bike and outfit. He arranged the Verge brand concept for the bike, outfit, and helmet. That's cool. He's got a fucking QR code on his shoulder. That's cool, man. It's really cool. A quote from Derek: Danny and I are excited to be a part of the new era of cryptocurrency. Verge, we believe in transparency and the privacy of the community. A quote from Danny, quote, I think that kids around the world will be using cryptocurrency, and especially Verge when they grow up. I am excited to be part of the cryptocurrency community. We asked his father to place a QR code on his outfit and send it to us so that we can in turn give the chance to ourselves and the community to support him. And they give us his Verge wallet address here too. So, and I'm going to demonstrate something right here on this show, right now. This is how simple it is to use cryptocurrencies. I'm going to read you off this guy's QR code. This is for his public address. If you enter it in the way that I read it to you, you will be able to send this guy money. And it doesn't matter where you are or when you decide to do it. If this is an active address for even a cold wallet, even if it's a live wallet, it'll be just the same. It'll get to him in 30 seconds and everything will be cool. But the point being is you can send it in real time, and you don't even need a special app to do it. You just need a regular old Verge wallet, and you can do this. Or if you have an altcoin account, although I would not advise sending it directly from an exchange account or anything like that. Just from a wallet, if you do decide to. Anyway, continuing on. This is it. Capital D, capital R, the number 5, capital P, lowercase r, capital Q, capital R, lowercase s, lowercase q, capital L, capital Z, lowercase q, lowercase n, lowercase u, capital F, capital H, capital S, lowercase e, capital D, the number 6, lowercase t, capital U, lowercase c, as in Charles, the number 1, capital F, the number 8, the number 4, capital X, lowercase v, 7, the number 7, capital S, lowercase r. if you enter it in like that, and you can rewind this and do it again if you want, and I'll actually have this on my YouTube channel later on. So if you missed it, you can figure it's about a little less than an hour into the show. So there you go. Anyway, yeah, like I said, if you were to enter that into a wallet and you want to send this guy like $5 or something, you enter in the amount and you click send, and it goes from you to him. That's it. There's no banks. There's no Goldman Sachs. There's no Coinbase or Bitfinex or anybody else involved in the transaction. It's peer to peer. Now, of course, it goes to the miners, and the miners included in a block, and that's how it gets recorded in the quote-unquote blockchain. But the whole process is done by volunteers. I'm a volunteer. The guy that wrote this article is a volunteer. The kid wearing the uniform is a volunteer. We're participants. We're enabling this tech to be spread around via the social viruses that we have at our disposal. This is a text article written out on Medium, read on a radio show. And so there you go. It's about how difficult it really has to be. And when people tell you that, you need a fucking bachelor's in economics and you need a fucking master's in computer science to understand this shit. Full shit. I'm a glorified button pusher. I understand this shit. I was mining this shit before most of you people even heard of it. So, what the fuck? Tell me it's overly complicated. Oh, it's really technical. There's only nerds involved in this. Yeah, give me a fucking break. You're involved in this. Anywho, as far as articles, I found a couple pieces of legislation that I wanted to read to you all this evening. Here it is. Apparently, a pair of bills have been presented in Congress, in the United States Congress. And so we're going to review the text of them right now. Or at least one of them, and then we'll do some music, and then we'll do the other. Okay? And so here it is. This is to promote fair and transparent virtual currency markets by examining the potential for price manipulation. In the House of Representatives, Mr. Soto introduced the following bill, which was referred to the committee. A bill to promote fair and transparent virtual currency markets by examining the potential for price manipulation. Number 1. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Section 1. Short title. This act may be cited as the, quote, Virtual Currency Consumer Protection Act of 2018. Section 2. Sense of the Congress. It is the sense of the Congress that virtual currency could have a significant effect on the economy, and regulation of them may be important to protect investors, deter bad actors, create market certainty, and ensure American competitiveness in the evolving global marketplace. I can help you right now. Just stop. Just forget cryptocurrencies even exist, and advise all of the state governments, the state congresses of the same. Just say, hands fucking off. Don't worry about this shit. Just let it do what it's going to do, and we'll come back to this in 10 years. And yeah, that's the way to do it. Not this mumbo jumbo you need to fucking get in our nose with this bullshit. Anyway, continuing on. Section 3. Study and report on the prevention of virtual currency price manipulation. In general, not later than 1 year after the date of the enactment of this act, the chairman of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, in consultation with the heads of the Securities and Exchange Commission and other relevant federal agencies, as determined by the chairman of the Commodity Futures and Trading Commission, in other words, not you or me, shall submit to the committees on Agriculture and Financial Services of the House of Representatives and the Committees on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry, and on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs of the Senate, a report to promote fair and transparent virtual currency market. There's never been a more fucking transparent medium of exchange than cryptocurrencies. What the fuck are you even talking about? You don't need a committee to fucking make shit transparent. It's already transparent. Give me a fucking break. The report shall include the following. Number 1, a brief description of A, methods by which persons could manipulate the price of virtual currencies. Oh, I got one for you. Tether. B, which types of virtual currency, if any, are more susceptible to being manipulated. And C, the effects on and particular harm to investors if price manipulation of cryptocurrency occurs. Okay, I'm going to solve it without you even needing to bring a fucking committee to committee. Okay? Even assembling a committee. This is it. Okay? All these fucking stable coins, they're not stable at all. As a matter of fact, they're not even backed by real volumes of fucking money. The only one I would even guess has any fucking money behind it at all is the one by Gemini. And it's only because Gemini is run by 2 guys that are fucking billionaires already. Okay, so if anybody is liquid, maybe they are. But until I see a fucking full audit of their books, and I mean see a full audit of their books, not a fucking lawyer saying at 8 p.m. this morning on, March 23rd, 2019, I reviewed the books and the books are sound and they have access to these bank accounts and they are solvent for $2.3 billion and all. Okay, that doesn't mean shit to me. Okay, I want to see a fucking bank audit where it's got all the fucking assets on one side and all the fucking on the other side, and we have a full accounting. As a matter of fact, if you had a blockchain of it, if it was a currency that they were mining, okay, and I could look at all of the shit there and the metrics on it, okay, that's fine. But without that level of scrutiny, as far as I'm concerned, we're back into Trustville, okay? And so, anyway, with regard to Tether and how it can manipulate the price of Bitcoin and how it can harm investors and has been harming investors. Okay, these people don't have fucking US dollars backing the Tether, right? So it doesn't cost them anything to create as many as they fucking want, right? And so they create them. Then they put them on Bitfinex and they sell them for Bitcoin because Bitfinex allows the exchange of Tether for Bitcoin. And so they're making them for nothing and then they're getting the Bitcoin out of it. Then they withdraw the Bitcoin from there and they take it to another exchange and they sell it under market. This causes the price to go down. They are artificially manipulating the price of Bitcoin by selling the Bitcoin for cheaper than the market takes, for what it takes the market to produce it. So this causes the average price to go down because people look at the price on Bitfinex and they're like, well, fuck, I'm not going to pay blah, blah, blah. I can get a better price on Bitfinex. And so they sell it for US dollars. They take it out of the other exchange, the US dollars from the other exchange, and just do the whole thing over again. But I don't even think they're putting it back in their own accounts. But the point being is that's how virtual currencies can be manipulated in relative value to US dollars and other fiat currencies is these synthetic quote unquote stable coins. If you want to talk about some shit, let's go back to Goldman Sachs. Their books have not been guaranteed for what's that one, USDC, the one that they're issuing through Circle. I guarantee you they are doing the same fucking thing that Tether is. And if you were to dig into their books, and if you were to call them to fucking audit, you would find out really fucking quick. They are insolvent for that shit. They're making the fucking tokens up out of nothing. They're waving the magic wand, just like the Federal Reserve does, and they're counterfeiting US dollars. If you want to get them on anything, counterfeiting. Market manipulation. You want to put down Goldman Sachs? That's how you fucking do it. There you go. I've done all your fucking homework for you. Do the investigation just based on what I've just said, and you will fucking bust some motherfuckers, and you will get the fucking money from it. And you will put motherfuckers in jail because there's motherfuckers counterfeiting fucking US dollars out there. And they're doing it under the title of quote-unquote stable coins. You don't believe me? Do a fucking audit of their books. Continuing on. Number 2. An analysis of the extent to which regulatory authority of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and other relevant federal agencies allows for A. Market surveillance of virtual currencies, for signs of manipulation, and B. Enforcement of federal regulations against persons involved in any such manipulation, i.e. none. I can feel these... Wait, let me check something here. You know, Bitcoin is created for everyone to have access to financial ecosystem in an open, decentralized manner. That's why we don't use them to pump altcoins. That's right. Contact me or join a profit organization. Hello, scammer. Fucking... right. There you go. Coin Crazy says, people that complain about manipulation also complain about coins needing to be stable and love tether. Just saying. Fuck yeah. I'm on it with you, man. I can feel it in my plums. But we need backed for the moons. Oh my god, yes. Dude, fucking I'm on the same page as Coin Crazy and the Verge Currency chat room, and if you want to join us in there, you can. It's live. I'm watching this shit. Anyway, yeah. You want to know why cryptocurrencies aren't stable? For the uninitiated who have never heard me say this, the reason, quote unquote, there's volatility in cryptocurrencies is because of fiat currencies. And let me explain that. See, cryptocurrencies are deterministically issued. At the end of the block, you get the fucking block reward, new coins are issued. And it's by a set rate. I don't know the exact rate for Verge right now, but for Bitcoin, it's 12.5 Bitcoin per block. And when people talk about a halvening, they're talking about that block reward being halved. So right now, it's 12.5 Bitcoin per block. The next halvening, it's going down to 6.25 Bitcoin per block. Get that? Anyway, continuing on. Let's get back into this thing. Number 3, recommendations for any legislative changes needed to improve the ability of Commodity Futures and Trading Commission and other relevant federal agencies to A. carry out the monitoring and enforcement activities described in paragraph 2. B. Prevent price manipulation of virtual currencies. And C. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to finish the explanation. So, with regard to cryptocurrencies, they're deterministically issued, right? So, the volatility happening on our end is virtually nil, unless there's like some sort of catastrophic event on the network, or if there's like a drop in hash power, there'll also be a drop in relative price because there's less work being dedicated to it, right? Now, this is where it gets fun though. The volatility is actually happening on the fiat currency side. And it's one of the few things in this world that fully communicates to you actual fiat inflation is the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that are deterministically issued. And the fact that it's so persistent, you know, that our rate of issuance is so persistent, it indicates in real time the effects of fiat inflation on the global market. Because people, for the most part, they only invest in Bitcoin what they're willing to lose, right? Not what they're actually speculatively trying to earn on their longer term investments. But this is like the poker table of their investments, where they throw down some money and they come back in a couple days and hope to cash out, right, and make a profit. But it's because they understand the whole flow of monetary value coming into the markets, and it's being issued by the central banks. And so when they issue more, it depreciates the price of the US dollar versus cryptocurrencies. And so that those big ass spikes you see on the fucking graph, if you really look at it, what you'll find is that they match all of the other markets. Take it and put it over the Dow. The Dow is fucking tanking right now. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but it's tanked like 1,200 to 1,500 points in over the last week at least. And if you look at it in comparative terms, it's tanked quite a bit. Okay, that's money exiting that market. People need to pay bills and shit. They're having to nibble into their funds that they've been playing with on the Dow. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get to here is that the volatility is actually happening on the fiat currency side of the exchange rate. When you're looking at the price of Bitcoin, you're looking at an exchange rate for US dollars or other fiat currency versus cryptocurrency, whatever is on the other side of the pairing. So the pairing is US dollars to Bitcoin. There's two currencies involved. Two separate currencies involved, created in completely different means and have completely different markets. But this is where the rubber is hitting the road. This is the exchange rate. So when you're seeing Bitcoin at $3,500, somebody is willing to pay $3,500 on one end for one Bitcoin on the other. Now you understand the quote-unquote volatility of cryptocurrencies. Anyway, continuing on. And let's see, I'll reintroduce this one. This is 3 recommendations for any legislative changes needed to improve the ability of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and other relevant federal agencies. A, to carry out the monitoring and enforcement activities described in paragraph 2. B, prevent price manipulations of virtual currencies. And C, to protect virtual currency investors from price manipulation. Yeah, whatever. B, virtual currency defined. In this act, the term virtual currency means a digital representation of value that does not have legal tender status and that functions as a medium of exchange, a unit of account, or a store of value. So there you have it. They're locking you down by all the neat little terms that you've been fed mimetically over the last few years concerning Bitcoin. How many times have you heard Bitcoin referred to as a store of value? Shit. I made this statement a little while ago concerning utility tokens and security tokens, and I don't know if you guys, everybody listening, has heard of that. But the theory was this, that the term security token and the term utility token, they probably have some sort of regulation that applies to that particular thing, and they got it like stashed away somewhere, right? And they're just waiting for you and several other entities to go around saying, oh yeah, this is not a security token, it's a utility token. This is the utility token, man. Yeah, it's got utility in this market, and so it's a utility token. Surprise, we got, HR 5475, to the House of Representatives, utility token regulation bill number 740. And there it is. They just corralled you into a nice little legal definition that you plastered all over your fucking white paper, all over your website, all over the associations between your token and real world. All of that shit has fucking utility token all over it. So, when we're in court and we found that you don't fit, compliance according to paragraph C of Article 12, that you're out of compliance here, and so we're here in court to put you in jail, or give us money, give us money, or we'll put you in jail. Yeah. Why do that to yourself? Just write a fucking cryptocurrency. If what you're doing is so fucking unique that you think that people will actually support your shit, get yourself together. Draw up your Genesis block. Start mining the thing yourself. Start some social media accounts. Start telling your friends about it. Start up a mining pool. If you get enough people interested in it, they will include it into an exchange on their own. And before you know it, you'll have a market for it. And before you know it, you'll be on to Bitfinex. Not Bitfinex. Bittrex or Binance or any one of a number of other cryptocurrency exchanges, and you're off to the races. And before you know it, people will be using your coin to as a medium of exchange in ordinary everyday commerce, because that's what these things are designed for. We achieved that back in 2012 with Bitcoin. There were markets all over the place for it. This is, I think, the second iteration of the crypto drought. The first time around, if you were here, dude, I saw some fucking desperate people, man. They were posting fucking memes of stick figures hanging themselves and shit like that, in front of a monitor with a big red candle in it. That shit. This is old news, man. If there were a actual line of history of all of the cryptocurrency projects that started up, had a network going, and then died, you would be able to look at it and see this area between 2013 and 2015 where a shit ton of them just died. Where some projects got assimilated into other projects, some people just left. They stop supporting the fucking thing. It gets rebranded. It gets renamed. Another crew picks it up or whatever. That happened. I think it'll probably happen again. Or I don't know. It's kind of happening now, but I think that we are going to have another alt bloom though, and it's going to be really incumbent upon the people, the current representatives, the OGs and whatnot. It's going to be incumbent on them to have their shit together, because they're not going to be just competing against other kids and other fucking garages and dormitories. No. You're going to be competing against fucking MIT and fucking IBM. And they're going to be out to eat your lunch too. So, got to be getting associated with people that really have a lot of experience keeping networks secure and live, and are really interested in becoming global currency units. That's the name of the game here. All this build on top of and fucking wormhole this and lightning network that. Fuck all of that bullshit. You got cryptocurrencies out here right now that confirm in seconds. So, and that's on chain. That's not any of this fucking off chain bullshit. So the idea that you need another fucking layer of assholes between you and the blockchain is, fuck that. That ended back in the fucking banking days when Bitcoin went live and the network was confirmed and the blocks were going from one miner to another and everything was going good there. That was it. That was the time when that bullshit ended. The time when you needed a bank or some other facilitating party to negotiate your fucking transaction for you digitally, that day is over. And you need to accept that shit. I mean, if you're like building or whatever, and your project is worth a shit, sure, people will adopt it. And there's a lot of effort going into things like Lightning Network and Wormhole. Although I did notice something. I went on to blockchain.info the other day, and while there is no explorer for second layer solutions on blockchain.info for Bitcoin, there is a blockchain explorer or an explorer for Wormhole on blockchain.info. I wonder why that is. Seems kind of interesting. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music before we tackle this other piece of legislation. And, yeah. I think this is appropriate. A little bit of Meshuggah for you here. Future Breed Machine here on Coin Metal. And that was Nothing Face with American Love. I actually let that one was picked out by the computer, oddly enough. And it was funny because it followed up the Immigrant song, which I thought was hilarious. Anyway, speaking of America, that is, we got this next piece of legislation, a bill, rather. And so yeah, here it is. HR, and no number to it, to promote United States competitiveness in the evolving global virtual currency marketplace. I already told you how to do that one, bud. Just hands off. Just forget it fucking exists. You got way more important shit to worry about. Continuing on. In the House of Representatives, Mr. Soto introduced the following bill, which was referred to the committee. A bill to promote United States competitiveness in the evolving global virtual currency marketplace. That's not up to you, man. Don't worry about it. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as, quote, U.S. Virtual Currency Market and Regulatory Competitiveness Act of 2018. Sense of Congress, or Section 2 rather, Sense of Congress. It is the sense of Congress that virtual currency could have a significant effect on the economy, and regulation of virtual currency may be important to protect investors. Actually, no, it's not. Deter bad actors or create market certainty. Yeah, you can't do that. And ensure American competitiveness in an evolving global marketplace. Section 3. Study and report on promoting American competitiveness in evolving global markets. A. In general, not later than 1 year after the date of the enactment of this act, the chairman of the Commodity Futures and Trading Commission, the end isn't in there, Commodity Futures Trading Commission, in consultation with the heads of the Securities and Exchange Commission and other relevant federal agencies as determined by the chairman of the Commodity Futures and Trading Commission. Damn, I keep putting "and" in there. Shall submit to the Committees on Agriculture and on Financial Services of the House of Representatives and the Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry and on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs of the Senate a report on the state of virtual markets and ways to promote American competitiveness. The report shall include the following. Number 1, a brief description of the regulation of the United States virtual currency industry as a comparative study of the regulation of such industry in foreign countries to determine competitiveness in a global marketplace, and B, the potential benefits of virtual currency and blockchain technology in the United States commodities market. Number 2, recommendations for any legislative changes, if determined appropriate, needed to improve the ability of the Commodity Futures and Futures Trading Commission and other relevant federal agencies, A, to promote competitiveness of the United States and United States businesses in this industry, and B, to encourage the growth of adoption of virtual currencies in segments of the commodities market that could benefit from virtual currencies and access to transparent markets in such currencies. C. To clarify virtual currencies that qualify as commodities for both existing currencies and others, and ones that may be created in the future, i.e. indicating that they have absolutely no control over that shit. And D. To provide a new optional regulatory structure for virtual currency spot markets, commonly referred to as exchanges, that includes federal licensure, market supervision, consumer protections, and preemption of state money transmission licensing obligations for participating in spot markets. Yeah, they want to control the fucking spot market. They can fucking kiss ass. That's not going to happen. Number 3, an analysis of the feasibility, cost, and potential benefit of the new regulatory structure described in subparagraph C and D of paragraph 2. I can save you a lot of time and effort right now, and there is no feasibility in the cost and potential benefit of new regulatory structures. The fact of the matter is that we regulate ourselves pretty fucking good, and if you look at the volume of wrecked in this market over the last decade, it's a fucking fraction, a minuscule fraction of the fucking rectitude that we saw with the .com bubble. I mean, there was, you want to talk about people jumping out of windows and shit? That's what was going on with that fucking .com bubble. When people saw their fucking portfolios tanking through the floor because they invested in shit they had absolutely no idea about. It had a .com on it, and that was good enough. they had a live URL, that was good enough, and that was it. And you had so much fucking wrecked, so much. And hardly any manipulation involved. You want to know a point where you guys could fucking get involved with regard to regulation? Actually, no. I don't even see that as a point. I was going to say it with these VC fundings, because I've noticed this pattern, and it was with Microsoft did it, and a few other .com entities did it, where I completely fucking forgot. Oh yeah, here it was. Where they gave money to these fucking kids that didn't have any idea how to properly apply it to the development of their projects, and they end up getting taken over. And this happened with a recent project, and I can't remember which one it was, where one of the lead devs just said, basically DFG just took this thing over. And I can't remember if that's the right one. It's like Digital something group or another. DCG or something to that effect. It started with a D and I think it ended with a G. It involved a D and a G, and I can't remember which group it was. But anyway, they're this fucking big group, and they inflated these kids with money. They had a representative involved. The representative kicked the fucking dev out of the GitHub. And basically, they took the fucking project over. This has happened a multitude of times. And this is why I say chasing adoption leads to corruption. It's a fact. It is a fact. They give you a bunch of money. You end up fucking swimming in fucking cocaine and hookers. And next thing you know, you've spent all your fucking VC money, you're back to them for a second round, and this time it's got all kinds of strings attached. Okay, and you're so fucked because you've got all these obligations, you haven't got a fucking line of code written, and you're up shitsville. The wife's leaving you, the fucking lease is due on your house, and you still don't have any fucking product. All of a sudden now, it is an absolute emergency for you to go to these fucking people and say, oh, would you please buy me out? And they happily do so. And next thing you know, you can't get into your fucking GitHub, and it's no longer an open source project, and there you go. This is the danger that exists in this fucking system. And if you haven't figured that out by now, you're in the wrong game. Okay? We're trying to create global currency standards here, and the only way to do that is by organic adoption. If people aren't willing to support your shit without being paid to do it, then it's probably not worthy. Continuing on, and this is on 2B. Virtual currency defined, as if they have the fucking authority to define what a fucking virtual currency is. Continuing on, in this act, the term virtual currency means a digital representation of value that does not have legal tender status and that functions as a medium of exchange, a unit of account, or a store of value. You notice that there's a lot of similar terminology in this as the previous piece of legislation that we read. That's not a coincidence. It's to create a legal vocabulary for people to start referring to shit to. And so when lawyers are referring back to this shit, they're talking about it in terms that have been provided to them by stuff like this bill. Okay, so, a virtual currency, a cryptocurrency, these all have the same fucking meaning to these people. Okay, so Ripple can be considered a cryptocurrency, or at least a virtual currency, that would also involve Bitcoin. They could both be put under that same rubric. But the fact of the matter is that the two projects are vastly dissimilar in actual function. And so trying to apply a universal framework from one to the other is a fucking bunch of bullshit. Because you can't do it. Number one, Bitcoin, if you go trying to apply the same kind of regulatory structure that you have with the full custodial fucking bullshit like Ripple to Bitcoin, what you're going to end up doing is kicking a shit ton of miners off of the network, and they're going to go to other projects. And so this framework that you developed is now fucking useless because none of the fucking coins that it's applying to are actually supported by any public miners. And so they're not being used as monetary mediums of exchange because those of us in the know just say, fuck your Ripple and fuck your other shit that has, DPoS and some regulatory board in charge of what kind of changes are made on the network and other shit. Ethereum is trying to do that. Okay, they're trying to exist as or at least the Ethereum Foundation as some sort of magic wand that's going to dictate to their network what they are going to do. And that is yet to materialize. Every time they've tried to do this, they end up with some sort of forking. Or they see a great deal of their support, their miner support, just disappear. And while that might not be all that important to them, to the devs of Ethereum, it places a great deal of money in the balance. I mean, it's not just Ethereum, it's all of the little projects that are dependent upon Ethereum working as an underlying medium of exchange. And we've already seen a split with Ethereum where a significant number of their miners just said, no, we're not going to go along with this fucking rollback of your blockchain just because you guys fucked up on the DAO, and you ended up with Ethereum Classic. And it's still out there. I don't give a fuck that their paid dev group decided that they don't have enough money to keep the fucking lights on. I don't really give a shit about that. It was a volunteer project from the beginning, and the people that still believe in it will still develop for it. And it doesn't matter that the Ethereum Classic Foundation has their head up their ass. That does not matter. What matters is whether or not people are willing to use it as a medium of exchange. And if they are, there will be miners for it. There will be people supporting the network. Why? Because it's in their interest to do so. Not because there's been some fucking regulatory framework handed down to them by some entity like the U.S. Congress or the CFTC or the SEC or the FDIC or any of these motherfuckers. None of them have any control over what code you write on your fucking computer and distribute to the public. They do not have control of that. They don't have any say over how you do it. They can draw up all kinds of frameworks and they can say all kinds of bullshit. But what doesn't happen is their effect on whether or not people download your EXE and install it on their fucking computers. They don't have any control over that. Nor will they establish any control over it, no matter how much framework they establish. That's why I keep saying, when I'm reading this fucking legislation, these people are talking about how to be fucking viable in the world and all that, and how to be competitive in the world. The best approach is take your fucking hands off it. Don't even fucking worry about it. I know the bankers are up your ass with both hands to get you to change, but change shit for us, draw up frameworks and try and classify our shit according to their frameworks. But I'm telling you right now, you will make yourself less competitive in the longer term, because that shit isn't going to go away. It's going to go to smaller markets. Sure, you might slow it up just a little bit, but all it's going to do is sit there in the dark and wait for you to fuck up. And given where we are with it, with regard to how the global economy has been developing over the last decade, your fuck ups are readily available for us to view. We're watching all this shit catching fire in France. That's not a coincidence. People are pissed off for a reason. When they can't afford to fuel their vehicles and get to and from work because all of a sudden Macron says, oh, we're going to up the gas tax because we don't really give a shit. All the people in the city really don't give a shit because, they ride bikes and buses and cabs and Ubers and they don't need gas. Well, let's turn driving into a fucking profession. Give me a break. You know what's going to end up happening in the not so distant future? The people that live out in the boonies, out beyond your regulatory reach, are going to start reverting to biofuels. That's right, biofuels. That's why diesel was invented. Diesel was invented by a farmer who had all kinds of farmer tailings, all the tailings from harvesting corn and shit. And he's like, what am I going to do with all this shit? I wonder, because biodiesel had been known about since then. I mean, at least bioethanol. And so he said, I got to be able to farm my shit, and the best way to farm my shit is with machines, and the best way to fuel machines is internal combustion motors, and so I need something I can burn in an internal combustion motor to get my work done. And hence now we have diesel. That's why it was invented. It wasn't originally based on oil. Or petroleum, rather. It was based on oils derived from harvest tailings. Stuff that was left over. All the leaves and stalks and shit. And that's where I see the future of the market going with regard to fuel. I don't see people giving up their fucking cars just because you put a stranglehold on oil and now it's $300 a gallon because we can't afford to frack it because we're causing too many earthquakes with fracking, which I will say that happened in Alaska, that big ass earthquake and all those fucking aftershocks that they've been experiencing. That's the infrastructure, the terrain, the infrastructure of the terrain has been hollowed out underneath them, and now it is shifting and settling. They're if they were to be gauging the what do you call it, I want to see the feet above sea level, they're probably getting shorter, and I've been saying that for quite a while about fracking, that the negatives associated with trying to pull those little bitty bits of hydrocarbon molecules that are stuck in the walls of these deposits, in the long run, the cost does not justify the expense. I mean, it looks like a little expense now, but what about when you're trying to tap that same land for water? We've seen all kinds of shit about, methane gas coming up through the faucets and stuff, and I don't know how much of that I believe and whatnot, but I would suggest there's probably been real instances of that. Otherwise, it would not even exist. There's been all kinds of debunked bullshit since then, but there was the precedent was already set in real events. And that's something that people try and discount with all the debunked stories about that. I would argue that's probably why there are the debunked stories. It's because it's to create a fog of disinformation so that you think that all of the instances like that were bullshit. Oh, this one was debunked. That one was debunked. Okay, so now we can discard the 250,000 that were legitimate, because we've had some debunked instances of it. Yeah. Anywho, it's indication that you're not in a game that's going to be fair. So the idea that some government somewhere is going to be able to make it fair. I mean, let's just put things into perspective, shall we? The last show that I did, we talked about Marriott and how 1 out of 10 people on planet Earth, or 1 out of 20 people on planet Earth, had their shit compromised because of Marriott hotels. If you're in a room with like 300 or 400 people, there is more than likely one motherfucker in there that had his shit compromised because of Marriott, because they were compromised for 4 years before they figured it out. And so now you want to tell me that, because they gave all the signals of being up to date on their security and shit for 4 years, that I'm supposed to trust you to draw up a regulatory framework that is going to keep cryptocurrencies competitive and legitimate and all that other bullshit. No, you're not. These networks aren't like Marriott hotels that, they change hands and they get one database from one group over to another. No, that's not how this shit works. It's not how any of this shit works. Yeah. Anywho, I got this other article here, and this is what I was talking about with regard to Ethereum. And I want you to keep in mind that they've been trying to shift to proof of stake for the last year or so. And this is by Helen Parts. So no penis. And I'm going to reload this just because I want to tell exactly when this was authored. It was authored 6 hours ago. Ethereum Constantinople hard fork to come mid-January based on dev's new agreement. Put that into context with what we've just been talking about. Ethereum core developers have agreed to launch the long-awaited Constantinople hard fork at block 7,080,000 as decided in a bi-weekly developers meeting on Friday, December 7th. The new agreement follows the previous decision to delay Constantinople fork for late January 2019 due to a, quote, consensus issue that occurred during the upgrade trial on Ropsten testnet in October. Given the press time Ethereum block time of 14.3 seconds and the number of remaining blocks of around 234,431, the Constantinople upgrade is likely to become active in around 38 days from press time, or around January 14th, 2019, according to the data from the Ethereum Blockchain Explorer Etherscan. The upcoming Constantinople hard fork encompasses 5 separate Ethereum improvement proposals, EIPs, in order to soften the transition from proof of work to more energy efficient proof of stake consensus algorithm. Once activated, the upgrade is supposed to fundamentally change the Ethereum blockchain with the synchronous nodes update to the entire system. Ethereum is a public open source blockchain platform featuring smart contracts and its native cryptocurrency Ether. Launched on July 30th, 2015, Ethereum is now the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap at around $9.7 billion and is trading at $95.88 as of press time, according to data from CoinMarketCap. Recently, Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin was granted an honorary doctorate from Switzerland's oldest university, the University of Basel, for, quote, outstanding achievements in the field of cryptocurrencies, smart contracts, and the design of institutions. In November, the analysis from Northeastern University and University of Maryland claimed that the alleged existing lack of diversity in Ethereum smart contracts threatens the whole Ethereum blockchain ecosystem. Yeah, whatever. And let's see, there's a pair of comments on here. Let's see what they are. Ooh, a long one. Okay. And this is by Rosales, approximately 3 hours ago. Butterlick Buns looks kind of skinny and lacking buff in that cartoon picture. Are they trying to be realistic while they cartoon, or have they just given up? Regardless of the optics of Vitalik, personally, I am suspicious of anything that smacks of schisms like a fort called Constantinople. Exactly what are they thinking? Drama sells? Needless to say, mum's the word regarding the elephant in the room named Parity, who lost $250 million last year and have dragged the crypto market into the debtor's prison because of their poor coding skills. Why can't Ethereum developers talk about that issue for the last 9 months? Is it because Parity has confidently wormed their way into some sort of fund return agreement for their neglect coding? Something is rotten in Denmark, and I only lament that the price of Ethereum I own is so much lower than expected. Yes, I agree with you. MW, most of these coins are becoming worthless. I said 8 months ago on here Bitcoin would go into the mid 3Ks. Now I predict 75% of these cryptos will disappear by the end of 2019. Yes, this is a culling style event. There's no doubt. But that's because there are projects that were wishy-washy when they started, were based on bullshit fundamentals, and are now paying the piper for their bullshit. You know, the projects that weren't serious are going to die. That's all there is to it. But yeah, so Ethereum, I don't expect they're going to go to proof of stake. I think they can plan it. I think they can make agreements on it. But if they aren't providing the hash power supporting the network, they have absolutely no fucking say as to whether or not the shit actually gets downloaded and enacted. And if they do put some fucking coding bullshit in there and they transmit it over nodes and you know hope it hooks on and whatnot, they're going to end up losing their fucking network again. I mean, I can imagine a shit ton of Ethereum miners just saying, you know what, I don't believe in this bullshit, bye-bye. And Ethereum loses about 60-70% of its fucking network overnight. or on a 30-second interval, because their block reward is so tight. Or I mean, their block time is really, really short. Anyway, the point being that they don't really have all that much say over it. I mean, they did the lessening of the block reward. I don't know how that actually went through, or if it actually did go through. But yeah, I think this is kind of a test net, you know, and I'm not hearing a lot of other people talking about it, but I did a little investigation to check out SegWit adoption, and it's actually kind of declining at the moment, and has been for probably about a month now. And I think it's that the miners are starting to figure out that the long-term scale, according to Bitcoin Core, is not in their interest. that in the longer term, a whole bunch of people are just holding on, hoping that they're going to be able to stack their bullshit on top of their work, and that they're not going to be paid or compensated properly for the work that they're providing. And I think that reality is kind of sinking into them with all this Lightning Network bullshit that people are intending to stack millions and billions of dollars worth of transactions in their tokens that they've made off of Merkle branches on the side chain and shit. And that the miners won't be privy or rewarded for any of it. You know, that they'll just be some big settlement network for this bullshit. And when you look at the difference between the response and reward of a settlement network and being a miner, there's no incentive to be part of the settlement network, because that's one of those things where after you do the settlement network, other people are depending on you so much to do the shit that they want you to do that you can't do what you want to do according to you. No, they dictate to you how that shit goes. And did you get into this to be dictated as to what software to be running on your fucking computer? No. I doubt you did. And so that being the case, how are they going to be able to do that? I'm going to predict right now that this Constantinople fork, or this proposed fork, if it does happen, it will cause Ethereum to fork again. Because there are miners that want to be miners. They don't want to be a fucking settlement layer for a bunch of bullshit that they're not actually being rewarded for. And so this shift to POS, if it happens on the Ethereum network, it will create a fork. And you will have the miners that are mining on the public network, and then you will have, you know, the stakeholders for quote unquote Ethereum. And I think that the POS version of Ethereum will die, and if the Ethereum Foundation is attached explicitly to it, that it will die too, and that Ethereum will continue on in the forked form, and all of the projects that were built on top of Ethereum will still be viable on it, and there will still be the gas-based network, the Ethereum-based network, that the miners agreed to mine to begin with. That's my prediction. And I know that there's some people out there that would probably disagree with that, but I don't care. I've been around long enough to watch this market develop. And if the miners don't believe in the network, don't believe in what they're doing for the network, they're not going to do it. They're going to do it on a network where their work is actually providing people with peer-to-peer currency, globally and trustlessly and permissionlessly. That's right. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And you know, I haven't been playing any body count tonight. Well, let's just convey the desperation of the moment out there in the crypto markets. Although, I will say this, I have been seeing a lot of green candles across the board, so might want to keep a little bit of powder dry for the weekend. I'm just saying that. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw it down. Body count, Ski Mask Way, here on Coin Metal. And that was Sixth with the Century of the Narcissist. And it is with that I'd like to be closing this episode out. You know, I just wanted to take a moment and just mention that no matter how much Mommy and Daddy may want to make the world right and make the world fair and stop the manipulation and all that other bullshit, she and he can't do it. You know, the fact of the matter is that fully licensed, fully certified, 100% or as close to compliance as they can ever manage entities in legacy finance and elsewhere in tech are involved in this industry, are involved in cryptocurrencies. And they're not playing fair, and they're not playing nice, and they have kind of a tacit approval of government to be conducting themselves as they will in this space. And so, the idea that the government is going to protect you from them is pretty low. And so to expect their kind of their protection of your project is foolhardy. You cannot expect them to protect you from other incumbent interests, especially not in finance. The NYDFS is convinced that they tell Congress what to do with regard to currencies and financial policy and all that other bullshit. They think they're above the Constitution. I believe they're actually in court right now over that with a federal entity. And I can't remember if it was the FDIC. It wasn't the FDIC. That's actually a private entity. It's one of them. I want to say it's like the OCC or something like that. They're like a subsection of the Treasury, of the U.S. Treasury. They are in court right now, or at least they were, with the NYDFS, because the NYDFS thinks that they've got like carte blanche to dictate what can be a bank and what can be licensed as a bank, and the U.S. Treasury is like, no, dude, that's our purview, which it is under the U.S. Constitution. So, with that kind of shit going on, the last thing that our federal and state entities really need to be worried about is whether or not Billy Bob is 100% FDIC insured with his fucking cryptocurrency. Or Jamal, or Cynthia, or, anybody out there that is working on a cryptocurrency. Sorry, you're not beholden to any federal entity. And in reality, they don't even have any real, how should I say that, real grip on cryptocurrencies, and certainly nothing that you are writing on your desktop at this moment. There is way bigger shit going on out there than you can ever do with your desktop. And not, I mean, if you're making a cryptocurrency out there, sure, there's significant influence that can be had there, and be made there. But you got to make good, and that is the ultimate barometer in this space. Is, does your shit work? Does it work how you say it works? Does it do what you say it does? And does it do it the way you say it does? If people can't clarify those questions for you, then you probably shouldn't be investing your time, money, or effort into supporting it. But that's just my perspective. You go by your own tolerance for risk and adventure. And it is with that I'd like to leave you. Thank you very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. You'll be able to find me on Facebook. I'm still suspended on Twitter for a couple extra days here. But when I come back, I will be tweeting everything that I do on the show on my Twitter feed. But so until then, we will be back again on Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And until then, I'd like y'all to trade safe. Do your homework. And watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody can do it for you. Or nobody will do it for you anyway. And as far as our last dance is going to be, man, I've been neglecting Prong, and that's almost unforgivable. But we're gonna make it up right here, and here it is, Last Dance, Home Rule, here on Coin Metal. Thank you again for listening, and you all have an excellent weekend.